Dzień dobry Państwu, nazywam się Błażej Hrabkowicz. To kolejny dzień festiwalu EnergaCAMERIMAGE, 28. edycja w Toruniu i online. Hello, my name is Błażej Hrabkowicz. Another day of EnergaCAMERIMAGE Festival in Toruń and online. Dzisiaj mamy wyjątkowego gościa. Now we have a special guest. To jest operator, który otrzymał w tym roku Złotą Żabę za Całokształt Twórczości. This year recipient of Lifetime Achievement Award. Philippe Rousselot, cinematographer, is with us. Hello, Philippe.
Hello, hello.
First of all, once again, congratulations for the award. Very well
Thank
deserved.
you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
When I'm preparing myself to do these interviews, I always look through the body of work, of course, of the various cinematographers, and to look through your body of work, that's that's a quest on its own, because it's really impressive. But I found there many films. I knew there were many films that were really important for me. I wanted to start with the 80s and the films because you collaborated with Jean-Jacques Benet.
Yeah, that's correct.
This was a very interesting period in French cinema. A lot of new names like Luc Besson, Jean-Jacques Benet, Léos Carax, and there is this name for this kind of for the cinema that they created that it was sort of a neo-baroque cinema, very stylish, very focused on the visual style. So tell us a bit about your experience as being part of this sort of movement or time in French cinema, because I imagine that for a cinematographer it must have been very a creative period.
Yes. However, when I say we, I should talk just for myself, but I'm going to say we because I think my colleague would say the same. We didn't have that feeling that we were starting something like a new school, like a new wave, or when you knew something. I think we just wanted to have fun. And by fun, I mean not being silly, but experiencing things. And the coming up of this movement, if there is one, is a bit complicated. It's both because the technique has evolved, because we had predecessors like Nestor Almendros who already had changed the rules dramatically, the rules of how you conceptualize the lighting of a film. And there was a little bit of a generation gap where the whole masters were coming to, come to finish their career. There was the coming of television, the coming of the handheld cameras, sync handheld cameras, which was a very important thing that came in the flux of all that. And there was this generation that was also had the spirit of May '68, which was a big kind of cultural revolution in France, and even a little bit violent at the time. So it was an ensemble of things, and basically me and DPs of my generation, we just wanted to break the rules. Because in a way we knew that we could not keep on making films the way our elders had done. Technically, financially, story-wise, everything was getting somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then there was also the fun, because the technology then, and including the film stock, allowed a lot of flexibility regarding colors. And then we said, however we were trained a lot on black and white, but also on color. And the we knew that we had to approach color films in a completely different way that black and white had been done.
Yeah.
And I reiterate that the influence of Nestor Almendros, which was fundamental in France also, and I had the privilege to work with him as a camera assistant, as a loader, and later a first. So I you know, he basically proved that another philosophy was possible.
Yeah. This is also an interesting conversation for me, because very often I ask cinematographers about their approach to working with actors. But one of the films you did, it's one of the most important films of my childhood, and the actors were really, let's say, unorthodox, and I mean The Bear, a film by Jean-Jacques Annaud. So,
wait, did we have actors in this? Yes,
I could ask you now, how was it to work with the actors in The Bear? But this is a film that I watched. This is a film that I watched very often in my childhood, and I really adored it. And from your point of view, what was the main challenge as a cinematographer to do a film like that?
To survive. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. However, in the end, we learned that the thing was a little tricky at times. But
I can imagine.
Yeah, it was very tricky. What the film was basically based on, and how it became, for me at least, some kind of a lesson, is that the entire film is based on the Kuleshov effect, which is basically, it's by having a shot of the big bear looking down to the right, cut with a shot of the little bear, which is shot another day in a different location.
Yeah, that creates a further
left up. Then you understand that they communicate. Yeah. So, and the entire film is based like that because you have no dialogue, you have no other way of telling the story. So, and the lesson from that is that if you don't get exactly that shot of the bear looking down to the right and the little bear,
you have no film.
Left, you have no film. So basically, whatever happens, and it happened a lot of things, meaning rain, disaster of any kind, you have to get those shots. And you cannot say, okay, well, I do something different tomorrow, but I abandon that. Never abandon the shot. And basically, we shot absolutely, plus many others, but we shot every shot that was on the storyboard. The film was entirely storyboarded.
Yeah.
And so we waited. One day we had needed a shot, which is a very high shot on a big scaffolding looking up on the mountains. We waited like 3 or 4 days for the sky to clear by doing other things. But and that was, pounding rain, freezing cold, and 11 hours a day of being under the rain, doing like micro shots on insects or something like that, waiting for the sky to clear. And the lesson of that film was so you get one take, not even try to get another one, because it might be another day.
Yeah.
So it is learning obstination. Basically, never give up. Yeah.
You also you have worked with so many different genres and styles. You of course worked with Patrice Chéreau on the Margot Queen.
Margot,
yeah, Margot. You worked with many different directors, but you also worked with Tim Burton, which I imagine then you had this opportunity to delve into more sort of fairy tale, a bit dark fairy tale world that Tim Burton always creates in his films. How is it to work with a director with such vivid and strong imagination? What is your role in creating this film, like The Big Fish, for example?
Yeah, but I mean, when you work with a director that has such a strong visual interpretation of everything, you know, you say, okay, well, most of the job is done. And then, no,
Easy.
but it's
easy.
And and I won't say that it's easy, because you have to, whatever you have to do, you have to come up with a challenge, and you know, you have a lot of issues, not issues. You have a lot of things to solve technically. You know, how you like this set, how you do this, and you learn. But it's not that you're reading the paper, waiting the things to happen. It is a lot of work, but it's first, it's a very enjoyable work, because what you want to make is a good film. So whoever is making the biggest decision, I don't care. You know, it's you want to make good films, and working with Tim, you're pretty sure we're gonna come up with something interesting. No, I totally enjoyed working with Tim. It was a blast. And you know what, I like people with talent. You know, I rather work with people with talent than people with no talent. Period.
Yes.
You know, if you told me, okay, you're gonna work with Michelangelo or with Picasso, I say, yeah, great.
Yeah, I understand. I understand completely. And you also did a couple of big budget films, but also it's interesting with the directors which are very, you know, mainstream directors, but also have a strong visual style. And I mean, for example, Guy Ritchie, with whom you did Sherlock Holmes films. These are the films. These are the films that, from in my view, from a visual editing, and so from a visual point of view, they have so many fantastic ideas. Even in our montage at the opening ceremony, we showed this scene in the second Sherlock Holmes when they run away through the forest. So another director.
Yeah, that's typical. That's typical of Guy. That's what he's best at, actually. Yeah. But you know, you want to work with people with ideas, because you may have, you know what, you may have ideas. I always have ideas of this and then how to do it. And sometimes directors let me do it entirely. That's fine. With people with very strong idea, with very strong visual visual interpretation of their film, you can only bring ideas which are already latent in their mind. And that's a good thing. And sometimes they would tell you, yeah, that's a great idea, but we're not going to do it. And you have to say, well, fine, absolutely, you're right, because it's not yours. You know what, most of the time, there's a little bit of a misconception of the work of a DP, which is, misconception is, okay, I read the script, I go to the set, I push away the director, and I make my masterpieces. That's never going to work. You know, you come to the set and you say, well, this is where the film seems to be going, and I'm going to go with the flow. And if I'm not going to the flow, I'm going to get fired. And for good reasons. And sometimes going to the flow is awful. You don't want to go there. Then you have the courage, you should have the courage to go away and leave it to somebody else to do it. That's how I see things. And if the flow is not good or doesn't go in the direction that you would hope it goes, I don't know, I can just steer the boat away from that. And if you think that you're the only one to know where it should go, well, then you should direct your film. You shouldn't be a DP.
So your view is...
It is a job where you need to have some intellectual humility, not pretend that you know everything. Because if you know everything, what's the point? It means that everything's been done before. You have to discover where the film is going, and by trying to see where the film is going, that's how you get creative.
Yeah.
Basically, I started Queen Margot with Patrice Chéreau, who I had seen multiple stage production he directed. I seen what he did in Bayreuth for The Ring in the 80s.
Yeah, that was a fantastic staging of Wagner.
That was one of the greatest Ring ever.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
I'm not going to come and tell Patrice I've got a fantastic visual idea for this movie. So
you're not going to tell.
Trust me.
You're not going to tell a guy who directed one of the most successful Wagner stage adaptations how to do a shot.
Absolutely. It's like I'm not going to tell Stuart Craig how to build his sets, or you know what, anybody how to make the costumes here. No. Humility takes you a long way.
Yeah. Thank you, Philippe, for this conversation. I think this humility thing is a really nice way to wrap this up. And once again, fantastic pieces of art behind you. I was watching them all the time while talking to you. And thank you, and thank you for all these films which you co-created. Because, like I said, some of them are, the basis of my cinephile education. So, thank you very much.
Oh, fantastic! I'm glad for that.
Yeah, thank you very much, and stay safe. Let's hope we can see each other on EnergaCAMERIMAGE next year, in some years to come.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.